A very good evening to you. Thank you for staying with TV3. This is News at 10. It is live from our studio here at Adesanwe in Accra. I am Martin Esiedudate. Coming up tonight, Education Ministry to reduce the number of high schools from 13,000 to 2,500 after re-engineering of the country's educational system to promote science, technology, engineering and math in the various schools, and it will be called the Junior Senior High School. We'll try and make sense of that for you shortly when we seek some answers to that. Also in the bulletin, 2 deputy chairpersons and other officials of the Electoral Commission kicked out from a meeting of Parliament's Special Budget Committee considering the 2022 budget estimate of the Commission. We have details of that as well. Before we delve into them, here are highlights of today's stories.
Headlines is brought to you by Deluxe Super Fixed Tile Cement.
Psychologists, national and airport security are assisting in rolling out the no vaccination, no entry directive at the Kotoka International Airport. The Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Franklin Esiedudate, says the service looks forward to a smooth implementation of the guidelines.
There are Ghanaians or people resident in Ghana who have gone out and are coming back. So it's not Ghanaians who are living abroad who are coming. And I think that we want to make that clarity. So if you are living there, you are not part of the two. You belong to one. You are supposed to come in for full vaccination status.
Deputy Minister for Finance Abena Osei-Asare says there is broader consultation ongoing on the implementation of the e-levy. Interacting with the media after appearing before the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, she noted that the Finance Minister intends to lay the e-levy bill in Parliament before the House rises for the Christmas break.
We have made very good progress in the consultation process, and I believe that will reflect in the bill that we present to the House. We will continue to build that consensus that we are all looking for, because at the end of the day, we have no other country than Ghana, whether minority or majority. It is this country that we live in. It is this country that we have to work together to develop and make it work.
Fear, anxiety has gripped residents of Pakoso in the Asokore-Mampong municipality of the Ashanti region after a 20-year-old woman was allegedly killed by her boyfriend on Monday. The suspect, Kwesi Bonsu, is currently in police custody, assisting in investigations. Hotel operators, tourism sites and some events organizers say a number of bookings for the Christmas festivities have been cancelled following the announcement of a mandatory vaccination directive. Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Akwesi Ajiman, says despite the impact on business activities, the mandatory vaccination remains the only option to ensure individual safety and also sustain the industry.
A number of the ticket sites, for a number of us that are working or producing events for this December, we're getting a lot of hits from, say, the US or the UK or even Nigeria. But understandably, after the directive, we began to notice that the hits were going down.
Of the surveillance, we are working with the Ghana Health Service, the Ghana Police, Immigration, National Security. Everybody is involved.
You're welcome back. Let's start from the education front. The Minister of Education, Dr. Osei-Edutrim, says the number of high schools in Ghana will be reduced from 13,000 to about 2,500 after the country's educational system re-engineering to promote science, technology, engineering and math education. The STEM concept, which is an integral part of the revised school curriculum, emphasizes what learners can do and not content repetition.
We've awarded contracts for about 15 schools that are going to be what we call lower secondary. The facilities we are providing is just like any high school facility. And every one of those schools has a library, biology, chemistry, and physics labs. Beautiful school buildings, and they are coming to a community near you very soon. And in 2023, when we open those schools, you're going to see how we are going to provide 6 years quality secondary education and not 3 years plus some 3 years old middle school led educations that we call high school. If you go to Abinase and Onwe, they have about 12 junior high schools. Within the next week or so, God willing, will cut a sword for the construction of a new lower secondary school there. Now, all those 12 schools will be out of commission a year from now. They will no longer exist as junior high school. We'll move all the students into this new building that have biology, chemistry, and physics lab and libraries and everything. Therefore, these students who are now going to grow up in ORIJIN or Benase are going to get the highest level of science education. Robotics is going to be taught there, the space is provided for that, and their level of proficiency by the time they get to junior high 3 will be very different. But the good news about that is that instead of 12 headmasters, we're going to have 1. So we have 13,000 junior high schools. If this reforms goes on as planned, we're going to reduce that to about 2,500.
All right, so let's stay on this subject matter and just some correction. The minister there said that we have about 13,000 junior high schools, and that is what is going to be converted or reduced to some 2,500. We've been joined on the phone by Ernest Akosa. He's with the Communications Department of the Ministry of Education. Ernest, good evening. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, Martin, for the opportunity.
Right, to start with, how different would this be from the already existing senior high schools and some junior high schools that are teaching the STEM, that is the science, technology, engineering and math?
Well, today, Honorable Minister for Education, Dr. Yosadi Chum, had the opportunity to engage with the selected media houses within the Greater Accra region, and he emphasized on the need for the media to constantly meet them so that together they can fashion out modalities as to how they could also disseminate information that are happening within the education sector. So this is basically what I informed Minister to do that. Coming back to the substantive issue, now I've been following Minister for some time now. He has been talking about that weak link between the junior high schools and the senior high schools. That if you look at the 1988 educational reform, there was a need to ensure that that gap is closed in terms of the junior high and the senior high. So the junior high was supposed to be 3 years, and the senior high was supposed to be 3 years, making it 6 years. But there was that disconnection. So the junior high, information on laboratories and equipment should have been the best in order to prepare the kids to transfer to the senior high school. But we did not see that. So with the new development, what Minister is seeking to say is that this time we are going to put all the, for instance, you mentioned about Abinase and Onwe and so on and so forth. There is about 13 junior high schools. So with that 13 junior high schools, you are going to cluster them. You are going to put up a modern infrastructure of which all the schools will be housed within one particular area. So if you have about, let's say, 20 or 30 headmasters, this time we are going to be managed by one headmaster, and the rest will be sent to other places to also deliver on quality education.
So these institutions, these already existing schools, and the example that he gave at the Onyonasi area, how are they going to come together? And are you saying that automatically they are all going to be converted to start learning science and math and engineering?
Yeah, it's a process. Now, if you look at international best practices, science, technology, engineering and mathematics have been the order of the day. Because without science, without technology, without mathematics, it's very difficult to move or transform your economy. So government since 2017 has been investing a lot to ensure that we give credence to this international best practice that we think is the best way that can transform the economy. So given the example that Minister Radley gave, we are looking at it from an angle where those schools will be not just the form of a pilot basis, because we can't kickstart everything nationwide, but it's a pilot basis. So within that enclave, you have about 10 or 20 junior high schools, not necessarily being converted into senior high school, but it will still be junior high school. But we are going to invest a lot in terms of science lab and so on and so forth. But this time, the emphasis will be on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So that they transfer to the senior high school, it will be something different. They are not going to learn about biology, they are not going to learn about physics, they are not going to learn about chemistry, they are not going to learn about robotics and so forth. So this is basically minister is trying to push across.
Wouldn't that affect other subjects, if particularly in that area, and I know it's on a pilot basis yet, but wouldn't that seem to be an over-concentration on STEM, to the disregard of other subject areas, which also probably some students there may have interest in those subjects, not necessarily STEM subjects?
No, I agree with you. If you look at current statistics, we have what we call the humanities. We go to the tertiary institution, we have the humanities having about more than 60%. But what we are doing is in response to international best practices. Right. That all the countries, the Singapore, the US, and other advanced democracies that they have developed to a certain level, they got to that point through science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So government saw the need to ensure that we invest a lot in those areas, not at the neglect of the humanities. The humanities will still continue to be aspire or to be hand in hand with the physical sciences. Right. The government is not going to neglect geography, economics, history, and other physical science courses. No. Okay.
And finally, I'm told also we are going to be attaching them to already existing senior high schools. So they are going to be, these new ones are going to be called lower senior high schools and would be affiliated to an already existing senior high school. How does that work out?
But if we take Prempeh College, for instance, they have the equipment, they have the research, they have the logistics in terms of math, science, technology, engineering. So what is going to happen is that those schools around the Prempeh College enclave will be upgraded to that level. So they are going to benefit from those structures that are being put up at the Homabinase and Onye area. So the teachers at the Prempeh College at a point in time will be deployed to those junior high schools to deliver classes there. Okay.
Thank you for at least explaining and putting some clarity to this for us. Ernest Akosa is with the Communications Department of the Ministry of Education. Certainly in the coming days, when more questions arise, I'm sure that we'll be seeking more answers to this new, as part of the education reform that the government is putting out. We'll keep an eye on it and keep you posted subsequently. Away from that, government is set to apply technology institutions to be included for the selection of junior high candidates under the computerized placement system from next academic year.
Government in 2017 decided to align all technical and vocational training institutions which hitherto operated under various ministries and departments and placed them under the Education Ministry. In 2019, the committee concluded its work and submitted to Cabinet, which was tabled before Parliament. In 2020, Parliament concluded its work, which the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo signed into law, the Act 1049, setting up the Ghana TVET services. The Vice President, Dr. Muhammad Bawumia, announced the setting up of the maiden second cycle Applied Technology Institution.
The programs to be offered at the Applied Technology High Schools would be designed as career-based technical education, which integrates career and technical education with a rigorous academic core and industry participation. All TVET institutions, which are now captured under the Ghana TVET service, are included in the next academic year's computerized school selection and placement system for selection by junior high school graduates.
Senior Presidential Advisor Nana Yawo Mafo charged management to the Ghana TVET service to include entrepreneurship in its programs, adding that the 2020 budget has earmarked funds to support its work.
People cannot use access to funds as a handicap so that people can develop skills and become entrepreneurs. The introduction of the e-levy is extremely critical. These two things in this budget, people must hail it.
The German ambassador to Ghana, Daniel Crow, noted that the German government had so far expended 50 million euros to support TVET education in Ghana.
Still news at 10 on TV3. We are taking a quick break. When we return, we'll take you to Parliament to bring you more drama as EC officials were kicked out from a meeting. Details shortly.
I'm going to interview Zuzum right here in my house. Hey!
Look up there. Why are you using inferior pen?
It was a mistake. I no check.
Akrobetu, I'm going to knock you out.
I know, sir.
You deserve quality.
Don't make mistakes. Stop.
You did the right thing.
When you are going to buy a paint, don't look left, don't look right. Go straight and grab the luxury acrylic paint. No be any paint, be paint.
The luxury acrylic paint.
Paint champion.
This advert is FDA approved. Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18 years of age. Not recommended for pregnant women.
It was HUS 10 for the Employee of the Quarter Award. Dubai was calling. Oh, and she almost forgot we are still in a pandemic. So she called asking me where to access a COVID test within hours of her surprise trip. She was surprised I got my results within 12 hours just before my last trip outside. Landbill Laboratory and Diagnostic Center is the place. Unmatched quality service and professionalism with a very friendly, hospitable staff atmosphere. 8 hours later, the email came with her results. Now, you know where to go for a COVID-19 urgent test for your next trip out. They are the most efficient I know of. Landbill Laboratory and Diagnostic Center. Results in 12 hours or less.
Munafikin TV. Na tun fadi maka. Bari batun TV ga. TV kana son TV mai kyau. Sai da Franco TV. Gaskiya. Na samu mai kyau ko. Abba. Wanda ke bada garanti. Abba. Ita kin fada mu bai tsoron sanyi. Wala. Muje. Nanin gida. Ga TV. Wannan 55. Wannan 55. Allah ya sanar. Kaga sanu kali, kaga 55 nga. 3022575533 and I said 0546133188 from.
What do you get when you mix extracts of African herbs and fruits with alcohol? You get Origin Bitters, 100% natural African herbs and fruits. Origin Bitters, original taste, original bitters. Also available in ready to drink. A blend of herbs, fruits and alcohol with no artificial sweeteners.
What's your take on an ideal guy?
I'm attracted to sapiosexuals.
Oh, sapiosexuals? Cool.
The smart guys.
See, I am one.
What's your take for the constitutional review?
See, they are really disturbing. They are worrying. Review. Constitutional review. The call for a constitutional review is not a bad call.
Really?
At all. Especially in the light of the fact that some laws have outlived their usefulness.
It was just gentlemen. I think Afenijan.
Afenijan? Who does he know Afenijan? Excellent footballer. Dangerous. Tactical.
There's this show on TV. It's a music show. Mentor.
I like Mentor. See, my family watches Mentor. Everybody. Hey, see, everywhere Mentor.
Where edition?
Eh?
Where edition?
Mentor's gonna take you higher.
Don't be clueless. Stay on top of issues with 3news.com and tune in to Media General's radio platforms on the go using 3news.com.
Welcome back to News at 10 on TV3. Let's go to Parliament now. 2 deputy chairpersons and other officials of the Electoral Commission were kicked out from a meeting of Parliament's Special Budget Committee considering the 2022 budget estimates of the Commission. Dr. Bosman Asaris, Samuel Tete and their colleagues on Monday failed to justify the absence of the EC chairperson, Jean Mensah. A member of the committee, Ahmed Ibrahim, explains.
there are major policy issues and constitutional issues to be raised in this particular time. Notable among them is the non-representation of the people of SAR, a portion of Ghana after the organization of elections, who have no representation in parliament. Then the lobbying that we did for the finance minister to refund some money and refund it back to her. These matters need to be explained to the community so that we know where we stand as a nation. They manage our electoral process. So the electoral process is managed by you, the chairperson. If nothing at all, you cannot sit somewhere and send your deputies to come and face the parliament committee, chaired by the majority leader, with the minority leader as the vice chairperson. We had a pre-meeting with all the constitutional bodies in Nkoko, Rock City. She didn't come. The deputies came. We listened to them. And we listened to them with the understanding that at least for this budget hearing she will come herself. So yesterday when he couldn't come, we said no, it is becoming too much. Until she herself comes, we are not going to listen to the deputy. Even though we knew they are competent, Dr. Bosman, Fenko, they had the capacity to be able to explain matters. But there are some policy issues that you need to hear from the chairperson herself. People are lambasting Parliament about the non-concern that Parliament is showing about the people in Apafo, Lolobi, and Likwe who have no representation in Parliament, even though government has gone ahead to give them a district. So there's a district in Ghana here without a constituency. And Parliament, which is the highest representation body in the country, is not saying, it has been silent on it. So we wish when she herself appear, her plans towards giving the people of SAR a representation, she will say it. Then if she has challenges, so long as organization of the next district level elections are concerned, she will say it. So there are pending germane questions for the chairperson from the horse's own mouth.
Now, still in Parliament, if you thought the drama about the presidential jet is over, well, you might want to think again, because consultations are ongoing for the purchase of a new executive jet. Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwul told Parliament on Tuesday that when conclusion is drawn on the agreement, he will table it before the House.
Mr. Ahin did not give the specifics of the aircraft deal, but said the Defense Minister will shed light on the development at the appropriate time. Unquote. So the Director of Communications is categorical that you are in the process of acquiring, meaning that the decision has been made. The decision has been made. Now you are telling us that you are now doing consultations. Can you reconcile the two positions? They are not the same.
The minister will consult other, including the government. When that decision is made, I'm coming. When that decision is made, ultimately, before it comes to this House, it will be made by cabinet. But it is the Minister for Defense who will take it to cabinet and justify why there is a need for it. That's what I am saying to you, that the initial decision to take it to cabinet is mine. It's not the communication director or the president. And I've said to you that I'm making the consultations. And if the consultations are right, you will see me back in this House. But as I stand today, I am making the consultations.
All right, so we shift our attention to some other stories now. 3.6 million Ghanaians, representing about 12% of the population, are food insecure. This was contained in a comprehensive food security and vulnerability analysis from 65,000 households sampled across the 260 districts of the country.
The 2020 Comprehensive Food Security and Vulnerability Analysis was spearheaded by the Ghana Statistical Service in partnership with the World Food Programme, the Food and Agriculture Organization and the World Bank. The report revealed Upper East, Northeast, Northern, Upper West and Savannah regions are the most food insecure regions in the country, with the Kasena Nankana West district being the most food insecure district in the country. Coordinator for the project, Dr. Peter Tachipepra, indicated the Ashanti, Central and Greater Accra regions have the least percentage of food insecurity in the country.
Tricky part of it is taking 6.2 or 6.4% of people in Ashanti, maybe even more than 50% of people living in Upper East. So I would advise that if we are targeting, we shouldn't just look at the percentages to target and provide interventions or support, but rather we should look at absolute numbers and where the people are located.
Country Director of the World Food Programme, Barbara Clements, noted some key interventions the World Food Programme is implementing to curb food insecurity in the country.
We've come to the conclusion that those finite distributions of food and cash is not going to solve the systemic food insecurity, and it's not going to build resilience against shock. We're going to be providing technical assistance to the government that will affect policy engagement, that will perhaps, I think, meet the food needs of many more people than just finite food distributions of cash or food at this point.
She called on key stakeholders to be proactive in the approach to help tackle food insecurity.
All right, let's find out what's happening elsewhere around the world on the international front. We're starting from France, and French authorities have formally identified 26 of the 27 bodies recovered from last month's mass drowning in the English Channel. 16 Kurdish people from Iraq and 4 Afghans were among the victims whose families are being informed. They included 2 friends from the same town who died in the worst recorded migrant tragedy in the Channel. Now, the UK government has said that all 11 African countries will be removed from its travel red list from 4 a.m. on Wednesday. That's actually tomorrow. Angola, Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, Nigeria, South Africa, Zambia and Zimbabwe are on the list. The red list was reintroduced in last November as a precaution after the emergence of the Omicron variant. And that's how we bring the bulletin to a close. Thank you very much for watching. If you visit 3news.com, you get updates of all the stories we brought to you and many more. Do have a good evening, and as always, stay positive. I am Martin Yesedu Date. Merry Christmas.